Yeah.
right?
So if I was going to like talk about what you're saying, you mentioned frameworks before as well, right?
Right.
And what was it? What were we mentioning just now? You were talking about um Jeremy Clarkson, right?
Right.
Power and speed. I think I agree with you to a certain extent, but when you said like framework manifestation, I think there's a way to use it correctly, right?
Right.
So let's say you have a lot of energy, you're putting outwards into the board, but you haven't focused it. It's gonna go nowhere.
Right.
At the same time, no energy but focus, you're not gonna get a result either. So how do you focus your brain power, your physical energy towards one goal? You need a framework. So let's say, for example, I'm sitting with you right now,
Sure.
and you say to me something. You say to me, Mansoor, your haircut, it doesn't look nice. I don't like it. Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right.
I can choose to get angry. That would be my instinctual reaction, or upset. Oh, does my hair not look good? Feel conscious. Or I can have a framework, like in terms of heuristics, right? So in my brain, every time someone says something to me, I evaluate: is this true? Does this affect me? You know what I mean? Um, Anything else? So you can have a bunch of things. So let's say you're approaching study, for
Yeah.
example. Instead of just sitting down and studying, looking at the course and starting to study, you sit down. You're like 80-20 rule. Pareto principle.
Right. Right.
What is the 20% of content I can learn that gives me 80% of the
Result.
result? Exactly. If you're creating a product, for example, you're gonna create a list of requirements based on your client. Why don't you do the same with your approach? You know what I mean? So if you are approaching a podcast, right?
Yeah.
What is the best way I can basically market my podcast? How can I give the most value to my listeners? Essentially, that's how you have to approach it. So it's just about having a framework. So things you can look at: 80-20 principle. You can look at, I forgot the word for it. If you say yes to something, right, you say no to everything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's called opportunity cost. That you can look at opportunity cost. Is this actually worth it with my time? You know what I mean? That's basically what opportunity cost is. Um, yeah, all these things. Does it align with my ideal self?
Is this under the heuristic principle?
Exactly, it's heuristics. So heuristics are truths that your mind believes instinctually. But if you don't set these up, like in settings, you don't set up what you want.
Yeah.
Your phone is just going to use default settings. Our brain, it wants to use as little power as possible. So
Yeah.
it just comes to conclusions like this. Like, for example, I think I said to you before, you said, Mansoor, your hair doesn't look nice. I feel self-conscious or angry or whatever.
Right. Right.
Like this. Or I can have a framework that I've predefined. Every time someone says something that maybe I don't like, I go through these steps.
Right.
That way, your brain doesn't need to think of itself. It's already got something. It's something that I can refer to. You know what I mean?
Step one, step two, step three.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're giving your brain a methodology to process things, essentially. Even with AI, for